What is going on, Bucs fans? Evan Wanish here, back at you with yet another video talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today we are going to be beginning a brand new series on the channel called Buccaneers Fantasy Frenzy. This is where I am going to take a look at the Buccaneers past game of how the players performed fantasy wise, and look forward to the next games that the Buccaneers have on their schedule. And if you have these players on your team, maybe you should start them. Maybe you should avoid some of these guys. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Buccaneers' previous game, which was a 20-17 win against the Minnesota Vikings. The Buccaneers' top performer, and I'm using ESPN for this. So all these numbers, these points in PPR format are going to be from ESPN leagues. Top performer for the Buccaneers was Mike Evans with 18.6 points. The second performer, Chris Godwin, I believe, with a little over 10 points. Chase McLaughlin actually had 10 points himself. Obviously, the 57-yard field goal really helps out with that. And the Buccaneers defense, with 3 takeaways, had 8 points. So they did allow a long touchdown. That does hurt their fantasy value, but they did do enough. I mean, takeaways are big for a defense in fantasy. So now they play the Bears this upcoming week 2. Justin Fields and then Chicago Bears come to town, and the Bears are coming off a disappointing, really disappointing 38-20 loss to the Green Bay Packers. I know a lot of Bears fans had a lot of hope about the Bears team and Justin Fields in particular. You had DJ Moore. You trade the number 1 overall pick to add DJ Moore. Obviously, I know you got pick 9 there as well, but really hoping for a better product, I think, from the Chicago Bears, but it was anything but. And Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers went into Chicago and pretty much dominated. So, like I said, the Bears lost by 18. Aaron Jones was a big performer for the Packers, 26.7 fantasy points on ESPN leagues. Like I said, in PPR formats, had a big catch, also had a touchdown and a nice run. Jordan Love had 23 fantasy points for the Packers, and Romeo Doubs had 18.6 fantasy points for the Packers at receiver as well. So if you're looking at maybe starting a wide receiver, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin might seem like pretty decent options. Obviously, Romeo Doubs did pretty good against the Bears. Maybe a repeat performance on a Mike Evans or Chris Godwin this coming week is in the cards. It is not out of the realm of possibility. Also, if you have Rachaad White, and I know that a lot of people were probably disappointed in Rachaad White, both in the actual game and people that were owned him in fantasy, right? I know that there's a lot of people that had a lot of high hopes for him. He's going to be the running back 1 and going to get a lot of opportunity in fantasy. Didn't really see much of it on Sunday against the Vikings, though. But you look at Aaron Jones's day against the Bears, and I'm not saying that Rachaad White's Aaron Jones. Obviously, Aaron Jones, I think, is one of the better running backs in the NFL. But you look at the production that Aaron Jones had, both in the pass and run game, I could see Rachaad White having a much better day against this Bears defense than this Vikings defense. The Vikings defense was pretty good at stopping the run. I think the Buccaneers offensive line is just going to keep getting better as they begin to play with each other more. So I could see Rachaad White improving on the 6.9 points that he had, the 6.9 fantasy points that he had on Sunday against the Vikings. I think the Bears are going to be prone to giving that up to him. Like I said, can you expect the 26 points that Aaron Jones got? Probably not, to be completely honest. But I do think that Rachaad White, given the opportunity, does have a chance to be a pretty good player in this matchup and a good option for your fantasy team. So if you're a little bit disappointed in Rachaad White, I don't know if I'd bench him quite yet. I think I would stick with him for just another week, see how it goes against this Bears team. As for Justin Fields, last week, he got 15.54 fantasy points. Obviously, Fields is a pretty dynamic quarterback option for fantasy. He has struggled in the actual games, though. He's a dynamic option for fantasy just because of what he brings both through the air and on it with his legs, but he really struggled last week. So if you have Justin Fields, my advice would probably be to to hold him in your starting lineup. I wouldn't bench him quite yet. because the Buccaneers, I think a lot of Bucs fans can attest to this. The Buccaneers can sometimes struggle against running quarterbacks. They can struggle against stopping the running quarterback. So I do think Justin Fields could have a lot of opportunity in this one. But like I said, I'd be keeping an eye on Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Rachaad White as those three guys, specifically Rachaad White, because I know the Rachaad White's probably the one where it's probably the least big name, I guess, on that list. I would keep Rachaad White in your lineup this week if you have him. See how he does against the Bears. If you're in a PPR format, maybe he gets a few more catches in the air. I was expecting him to have a bigger role in the passing game in week 1. It didn't really happen. Perhaps they get him involved more in week 2. But if you're playing for the Buccaneers defense as well, Packers defense did really well against Justin Fields. It always is a risk when you're playing against a running quarterback because they can hurt you in more than one way. Sorry, words are hard. But I would consider the Buccaneers defense as well. If they're your backup defense and you don't like the matchup that your starting defense has, I don't think the Buccaneers defense is that bad of an option. I think this game might be pretty low scoring here, but let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have any of the players I mentioned? Do you have Mike Evans? Do you have Chris Godwin, Rachaad White, Justin Fields? Did you have any of those guys last week? Did you have the Romeo Dobbs or Aaron Jones, Jordan? Did you take a flyer on Jordan Love and start him? Would love to hear what you guys have on your fantasy teams. Like I said, we're going to be doing this series each week where I'm going to be taking a look at the previous week and how the players performed, and also the upcoming matchup that the Buccaneers have for that game. And this is going to be all for fantasy purposes. So going to be, a little bit of the knowledge of how the Bucs play certain things and matchups, but mostly looking at it from a fantasy perspective. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and go Bucs.